Hi friends, and welcome to my channel. Today's workshop is on hands-on yoga assists and adjustments. I have the beautiful Aslin here today to help out, and super grateful for their time. Also really excited to guide all of you at home through all of this, because whether you're a teacher in training, or just simply a curious yogi wanting to better understand the body, a little bit more of this definitely is for you. The workshop itself isn't about correcting postures or pushing students or yourself deeper. Instead, it is learning about how to offer intentional, thoughtful support that honors where your body is today, not where you think it should be. Our baseline is going to be inspired by Iyengar's alignment principles. His work offers incredible structure and awareness around the body, but we're also going to explore how to make these assists feel more accessible, more human, and ultimately more connected. We'll look at cues, adjustments, hands-on assists, and even subtle energy touches. And as always, consent always comes first. So a good assist starts even before you lay your hands on someone. And I did get Aslin's consent before we started recording. So to begin, we are going to start off with Balasana, Child's Pose, and Adho Mukha Virasana, Downward Facing Hero's Pose. And then after we're done with that, there'll be 5 more postures that we'll look at. Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Janu Shirshasana, head to knee forward fold. Pavarita Janu Shirshasana, revolved seated or head to knee forward fold. Adho Mukha Savasana, downward facing dog. And then finally, we're going to end with dancer's pose, Nadarajasana. So so go ahead and just go grab your mat, and I'll meet you back here in a few. All right, we're back. Let's talk about Balasana and Adho Mukha Virasana. So traditionally in Iyengar's yoga, Balasana, which is child's pose, is a compact, restful shape. Knees are together or slightly apart, arms come down alongside the body, palms up. Your forehead rests on a mat or a block. Your hips are grounded towards the heels, and the spine is gently rounded. It is very internal, inward posture, almost fetal. And it really is meant to be a passive, quiet, and deeply grounding posture. And what I learned, not too long ago, is that in most modern yoga classes, especially vinyasa and power styles, what we call as child's pose is actually something different. You know, the knees are often wide, big toes touching, arms reaching forward and long through the sides. And then the focus is on lengthening the spine and actively opening the shoulders. Now, if we look at it from that perspective, that is actually Adho Mukha Virasana, or downward facing hero's pose. But postures are beautiful and they have their own purpose, but they're quite different. And that difference matters when we start to look at, adjusting and assisting our students and helping and supporting in that pose. So as we go through these postures today, I'll use both the Sanskrit and English names and show you how to recognize the student's version of the shape so that you can adjust appropriately, and always with consent. So we're going to start off with Balasana and Adho Mukha Virasana side by side, so you can really see and feel the difference. All right, so we'll start with Balasana, child's pose, Iyengar style. So I'm going to just step aside to give Aslin a little bit of space here. And then for you at home, you can also just listen to the cues that I provide, or just, take note, whatever you want to do. So go ahead and come by coming into a kneeling position. And then bring your knees together. And then, or slightly apart, whichever you feel is most comfortable. And then from here, go ahead and come down to your, onto your shins. And then you can untuck your toes, yeah. And then from here, simply come all the way down to the mat. And then with your arms, bring them alongside, reaching towards the back of your mat. Awesome. So this is Balasana, right? So you can see their hands are simply resting along the side here. And this version of child's pose or Balasana is really, it's really deeply inward and restorative. It's quiet. There's no striving here. It's really, really about surrendering and just letting the earth hold you, right? And you'll see students that have Aslan here is fairly flexible and very comfortable in this posture, and you might see students that may have like tight hips or knees and can't quite bring, as you see here, their hips all the way down to their heels, and that's totally okay. And that is where the support comes in. So the first assist or adjustment is, this one is more about grounding, right? How we can help support them grounding their hips a little bit further. So what you're going to do, of course, ask for consent. And then once you do that, what you can do is you can simply stand behind them, as so. And you also want to get a good grounding, and you yourself want to be in a stable position. And so what you want to do is you take your hands. I like to keep my fingers spread apart and, coming down here on their sacrum. What you don't want to do is place your hands on the fleshy parts, because that can cause injury and a lot of uncomfortableness. Is that the right way? Anyways, discomfort. So we're going to bring our hands down here on the sacrum, and you're just going to lightly bring and guide them, support them, adding just a little bit of pressure, having them fall into the posture a little bit more. And here you may want to also check in. Is that good? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I like to ask more, less, or just right in terms of the pressure. So that can sound kind of like, is that more or less or just right?
Just right.
Awesome. And then you just, again, you want to also, as you're putting pressure, bringing pressure down, giving them that support, you also want to kind of be guided by their own breath, right? A lot of assists and adjustments typically will happen on an exhale. So that can be, I like to just watch, match their breath as I see them inhale. And then as they exhale, I exhale as well, and then apply that adjustment. And then maybe rocking the hips side to side. And then just gently lift up and let go. I like doing it that way versus an abrupt, I'm done with your adjustment and now it's time to move on. So go ahead and come back up if you need to, just to get a little bit of stretch there. And so it is, again, oh, sorry. So you can, like I said, just depending on where your student is, where they're at that day, and just overall energy, you just kind of, it is about consent, but then also just being aware of where you're making the adjustments and just how deep or how hard you go. Now let's take a look at Adho Mukha Virasana, downward facing hero's pose. Now this is the pose that most people think is child's pose. And that's really for modern flow classes, and it's, you know, the posture itself, it is a lot more elongated, active, and spacious. So I'm gonna cue Aslan here into the posture. So maybe come to the middle so we're in the frame. And so just come to, again, come to kneel on your mat like you are here. And then what you want to do is bring your big toes to touch if you're able to. And you can also take your knees as wide as the mat if you'd like, or just wide enough, right, that your chest can melt down between your thighs. So go ahead and bring your hips back and down. Awesome. And then just begin to walk your arms forward, dropping your forehead to the mat. And then just kind of ease into the posture. Now, what you want to also do is, and typically in this posture, your arms, as it's reaching forward, it is actually active, right? Your elbows may be a little bit lifted because you're trying to reach for that mat. Very active posture compared to Balasana. And so this version actually has, it's a totally different feel. Wouldn't you say this? Mm-hmm. And she did say yes. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's a totally different feel in the body. You know, if you look at the, compared to the traditional Balasana, it creates length through your spine. It opens up your shoulders and your chest, and often feels like a gentle stretch through your lower back, your armpits, and also your inner thighs. So you might begin to notice, you know, as you're getting your students in the posture, or even yourself, right? You'll start to see, you might notice the shoulders coming up towards the ears. Arms may be collapsed, or your elbows kind of just splaying out. Hips may be hovering, or it may look uneven. And then sometimes students may have discomfort in the lower back or in the knees and so forth. So first adjustment we're going to do, and again, don't forget consent. You know, and again, same thing as we did in Balasana, is coming behind the student and just getting grounded yourself, right? You want to also be in a stable position. And again, I like to spread my fingers out wide and bringing it again, bone to bone, never on the fleshy area, because again, that can be very uncomfortable, or you can cause injury, and we don't want that. So we're going to take our hands down at the sacrum here. Of course, I am in a kneeling position compared to where I was earlier. And this is where, you know, again, for me, this is comfortable for me, and I feel fairly stable in where I'm at. So again, I'm going to place my hands on the sacrum area, bone to bone. And just, again, you want to also match your breath. So any pressure or adjustments, I like to do it on the exhale. So I'm just going to stay and just look at their breath, and then I will match that. So there's an inhale, and then an exhale, coming down. And here, unlike Balasana, their arms are reaching forward. So in this posture, I also like to encourage more lengthening. What I like to do is just to gently bring my hand up their back, along their spine. And I can see already that Aslan's already lengthening, encouraging that length. And then maybe at the top, give a little massage. Now, I'm only doing this because I know Aslan and I am comfortable with that. So we kind of have that relationship, that friendship. So again, just depending on who you are doing the assist or adjustment on, just be mindful of that because you don't want to come off as creepy if you are doing it in a class with new students. Another thing I like to do is to also just give a small massage, kind of just going up their spine. And also this encourages a little bit more lengthening, helping them go deeper. I can feel her chest coming into the mat a little bit more. And then again, without doing any sudden release, I like to kind of just transition out of the adjustment smoothly versus an abrupt release. And then one final adjust here. And then we let go. So feel free to come up when you're ready. Didn't seem like they wanted to come out of that, but we've got 5 more postures to go. All right, so next up is Paschimottanasana, and I will see you here shortly. All right, welcome to our third posture, Paschimottanasana, our seated forward fold, or also known as intense Western stretch. Did you know that?
Did not.
Okay, neither did I. And so here we are learning something new. So welcome to the posture. It is a forward fold that looks super simple from the outside, but has a ton of stuff going on beneath the surface. It's one of the most commonly practiced postures, and also one where we see a wide range of alignment, mobility, and effort. It's also one of my favorite postures as a yin practitioner, and also what I teach. It is part of, I think, of every single class I teach. So love the posture, and I'm glad to be able to use it as an example in our assists and adjustment workshop today. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump right in. So what we're gonna do is come into a seat, with your legs extended, and just a couple cueing and alignment things that we want to be aware of and just super mindful of is, flexing your toes, making sure your heels are grounded. Hopefully I'm not in the way, but heels are grounded, and also feeling for your sit bones. So making kind of adjustments till you feel the 2 bony parts of your bottom make contact onto your mat. Your spine, yes, like she did it before I even said. So lengthening your spine, and from here, again, sitting tall. And then if your spine is actually rounding, I don't know if you can see that here, but theirs isn't rounding. Her spine is fairly tall. But if it is rounding, what you may want to do is maybe have your pelvic tuck under, or even if you're not in a position where you're able to sit tall and straight, and you want to help encourage that pelvic tilt, you can sit on a couple blocks or a blanket if you have that at home. In this case, Aslan is very comfortable in their posture as it is, as we set up into moving into the next step. From here, let's inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, and before you do any movement here, you want to use your hips, and you're kind of hinging at your hips as you're coming down, folding down forward towards your toes. So inhale here, exhale, come down, and then just bring your hands either onto the top of your toes, and then you want to continue your breath. And so what you might see here is a rounded back, and like what you see here, and it really depends on the person, right? And also looking at it from mobility, flexibility. And so for here, you don't, again, this is a very intense, a lot of intense sensation is going to happen here alongside your hamstrings. You may also feel it in your calves. Where else? And also depending on your hips, you may feel some tightness there. So what I like to do in this posture, and you can also relax if you need to a little bit. So in this posture, for the hip rotation, what I like to do is to just kneel right behind your student. You can either come at it from the way I'm at, as you see here, or, well, let's just do it the way here. So what I like to do is I like to put my hands on their hips. Again, it's bone to bone, never try to reach for the fleshy parts. And then here you just want to gently guide so that they are rotating their hips forward. And again, you want to match the breath and making that adjustment, the assist on the exhale. So I'm just trying to make the suggestions with just a light touch. I'm never ever forcing movement. And it's also a feel, right? As you continue to make the adjustment and provide the assist, your students will come to an edge, their edge. Never push them past that, because again, you want to be mindful of, everybody is different, right? So you want to make sure you're not causing any harm or any injury. So the other option, are you doing okay? Do you need to take a break?
I'm okay.
Okay. So the other adjustment that you can also provide is kind of similar to what we did when we were in Balasana, is that spinal massage. And again, with this, just simply coming behind and just following their spine, right? It's just a light touch. And also it just encourages lengthening the spine. And just helping them create space. And then also just helping them release a little bit of tension. And then I like to come back down, keeping one of my hands at the top, and then kind of just going into the motion of just lengthening, applying a little bit of pressure at the top, and then just coming down the spine. Inhale here, and then open mouth, exhale. On that next inhale, go ahead, slowly come up, taking your time. How did that feel?
Great.
Good. Meet you at the next pose. Welcome to Janu Shirshasana, our head to knee forward fold. It is a one-legged forward fold that combines grounding, twisting, and introspection. So we're just gonna jump right into it. And so from our seated position, go ahead and sit at the back of your mat. We're gonna extend our right leg out, or actually your left. And then we're gonna bend our, and then just bring the your foot into your thigh. Awesome. And here again, lengthening your spine. And with this, our extended leg is just straight out in front of us. Toes are flexed. And let's inhale here, hands up overhead. And then as we exhale, we're gonna forward fold over that extended leg. And depending on where you're at today or where your students are at, you can simply place your hands on the mat as you see here, or you can go into a reaching for your toes with your fingers. But if you don't want to do that today, you don't need to do that. So what I like to do in this posture is really guiding alignment, right? It's spinal alignment and getting them to where their hips need to be and just really giving them the support that they need. So here, what I would do is, again, it's never forcing the body to get to where you think it needs to be. You also, again, going back to what I had talked about earlier, is really taking the adjustments or any assists that you provide and just really matching it with their breath. And again, on that exhale. So here, I'm going to gently put my hands down again, bone to bone, never on any of the soft parts. But here, I'm going to watch and just match the breath as they inhale. And then as they exhale, I'm just going to simply guide their hips so that they're squared off. And just giving them some suggestions on where they need to be. And also, you can also come here, and what I like to do is, again, same thing with the with Balasana, Paschimottanasana. A lot of these seated postures is really giving them that nice massage up their spine. It gives them an opportunity to relax. And again, this is just simple guidance, and light touches go a long way. You don't see it from my perspective, but I can see Aslan starting to just melt deeper into this forward fold. And then also relaxing the shoulders. And then maybe giving a light massage at the top. And then here for me, I love keeping my hand at the top just to give them that little bit of pressure, a little bit of support, but not too much. And then just making my way back down, helping them elongate their spine. And just very subtle cues with your hands. How does that feel? Good, good. And then one last, once you have the alignment of the hips, right, you can also come in, and for me, again, this is just my preference, is to just provide them with a little bit of support here, and perhaps also give them a little pressure here, giving them a little bit of that stability. All right. Let's inhale here, and then open mouth, exhale. And then on that next inhale, slowly come up. How are you feeling? Good. All right. Well, we need to have some balance here, so we're going to do the other side. So switch out our foots. And then when you're ready, let's inhale here, hands up overhead. And then exhale, forward fold over that extended leg. And then what you'll notice here, right? So as we move from one side to another, it's going to be different. With this side, forward folding on her extended right leg, she's actually, they're a lot more closer to their knee. And again, it's just our bodies, right? One side will differ from the other. And again, I'm going to provide some light guidances here to help square off her hips. And then again, the light spinal massage. And again, I'm going to leave my hand at the top just to provide that additional support, pushing down in this leg, helping them feel grounded. Okay, so let's take a cleansing breath here in through our nose. Open mouth, exhale. And then on that next inhale, let's rise up, taking our time. How was that? How was the adjustments? Did you feel a difference just with the light touch and guidance? And
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we'll see you in the next pose, which is actually similar to what we're in now, but it's the revolved version. So Pavrita Yanu Shirshasana. So see you in a few. Well, welcome back. Next up is Pavrita Yanu Shirshasana, which is our revolved head to knee posture. So we're just going to get right into this super beautiful side body stretch with a gentle twist. So go ahead and extend both legs. And then we are going to bring our right leg in as we did earlier in Yanu Shirshasana. We're going to bring our left foot out, widen it out. And again, go as far out as your body allows. And the next step here is we're going to bring our left arm inside our leg, extended leg. And then with your right arm, you're going to simply bring that up overhead. And then you're going to begin to rotate your chest towards the sky. And here you want to just start creating space within your side body. You can gaze the tip of your fingers or at the ceiling. And here, as we start to go into the adjustments and assists, and again, you want to also be mindful of where your student is at in their practice today. So some nice adjustments, or just nice, I like to call them guidance, is to help them open up their chest and get that full rotation, is just, again, under the rib cage. Again, it's always bone to bone. Their front and then the back part is just a slight guidance. And you'll see they just automatically kind of opening up a little bit more. And then another variation here is especially if you have students that have shoulder pain, you can also have them bring their arm back. And then depending again on the range and how they're feeling, they can bring their hands, maybe if they're able to that crease, the hip crease, or they can just leave it in the lower back, right? And so here you can still get that openness, right, by simply guiding. You can also guide here, the top of the shoulders, and just providing them with that support. Let's take a cleansing breath here. And as you exhale, go ahead and release the posture. How did that feel? Did you have a preference between reaching overhead or bringing your hand behind you? Did you feel a difference?
Hand behind me.
Okay, yeah. As a lot of students do like that. It's not so much easier, but it allows them to get into the posture, and just makes it more accessible. So we're gonna go ahead and balance things out, and we're just gonna do the other side. And again, it's the same type of assist and adjustment, and you'll always notice that there is going to be subtle differences and range of motion when we move from one side to another. So here, let's go ahead and inhale, cleansing breath, exhale. And then let's go ahead and bring on our right arm down to the mat inside your leg, and then bring the arm up. And again, because they do like it, bringing their arm down, we'll go ahead and bring that down behind us. And again, it's also matching your breath and making the adjustments and the assists on the exhale. So again, I'm just gonna lightly place my hand rib to rib, again, not on the fleshy part. And as you watch their breath, as they exhale, then you just kindly guide their body, and you'll see that they'll move right into it. You may also, again, at the top of the shoulders, to open their chest up a little bit. Go ahead and slowly come out when you're ready. Did you feel a difference between one side to another?
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see. We have two more postures left: Adho Mukha Savasana and Natarajasana, dancer's pose. So see you in a second. Well, welcome. We are now moving into Adho Mukha Savasana, our downward facing dog. This is the posture that lives somewhere between rest and a powerful full body activation. Now, I'm going to cue Aslin a little bit differently from what we are typically used to. It's going to help you get into the best alignment that best fits your body. So it's going to look different for Aslin, it's going to look different for me, and I feel that this is the best way to get a better understanding of where your hands and your feet should be, and again, based on your body. So Before we move into downward facing dog, to get a good feel of where, again, where that alignment should be, is I'm going to have you move into our Adho Mukha Virasana. So go ahead and get into a kneeling position. Awesome. And then when you're ready, just come down, extending your hands, top of the mat, and then forehead down on the mat as well. And then from here, but right here where you see your feet, right? So at around here, this is where you are going to lift your toes, and this is where your feet will live. And then your hands are going to stay where they're at. This is going to give you the best possible alignment in terms of the distance from hands to your feet, where that should be. So go ahead and tuck your toes and then lift up, hips up and back. So as you see here for Aslan, this is the perfect alignment for her body, right? This is where their hands, their feet should be. And again, this is going to be different for everybody. It's not, in terms of distance, it's not any longer, any shorter. And again, it's, as we're here, we're going to press down, pushing the mat away from us, chest down, coming down, head, neck, just relaxing. And we'll take a cleansing breath here. And so as we move into the first adjustment, what I like to do, again, always get consent, is, getting a very stable position behind your student. And so for this first adjustment is just really getting their hips up and back. And again, standing behind your student as so. You want to place your hands, right, again, bone to bone, never on the fleshy part, on their hips. And again, you're not forcing anything. It's just a light guidance of bringing hips up and back. We would never want to push them down, but it's just up and back. And you'll see that it's a light touch. They came down and lifted with that guidance. And as you're here, again, it's still with that same breath, right? Watching their inhales, watching their exhales. And again, as they're exhaling is, again, that light guidance up and back. You're helping them open up their spine, creating length and space. Go ahead and come down to your knees. Take a little break here. You can start feeling the little shakes here. And so that's just, again, another, one variation of a simple assist in downward facing dog. And again, you don't have to do a lot, right? It's just being able to kind of position your hands, kind of guiding them where they need to be. And you'll see that they will naturally go where your hands guide them, right? And again, it is just a light assist. And again, never wanting to force anything. All right, so when you're ready, let's go ahead and tuck your toes, push up, downward facing dog. And here on this next posture, it's on the next assist, that you can also add into is more of the shoulder softening. So what I'll do is I'll move to the front of the mat, like so. And then what I like to do is just to place my hands on the outer arms or shoulders and just helping them gently widening and externally rotating them. So it's kind of like, maybe you want to cue them using words, is imagine you're pouring your tailbone up and your heart back. And again, it's just a light touch. And again, it's a guidance. And again, to come back here, again, getting the stability and just helping them guide hips up and back. Sometimes here, you can also provide the same motion as we did earlier with the Yanushashasana, Balasana, is, you know, kind of doing this light massage along their spine, helping them go ahead and come down on your knees, take a little break. And so again, that was our Adho Mukha Savasana, downward facing dog. Just a couple ways of assists and adjustments while your students are in posture, and a way to make them feel supported and grounded. You can come up when you're ready. How was that?
That's great.
Good. All right. Final posture we'll be moving into is Nadarajasana, dancer's pose. So we will see you in a bit. All right, welcome back and welcome to our final posture. And you may be wondering, why are we standing? Well, it's because we are going into our final posture of Nadarajasana, dancer's pose. So we're just gonna go right into this beautiful posture of balance, strength, and opening our heart centers. So go ahead and step in the middle of your mat and then shift your weight onto your left foot and bending your right knee. Reach back and grab the inside of your foot or ankle, and then lift your left arm up and begin to kick back your right foot as you start to hinge just slightly forward, chest opening, heart filled. Now, what you may see here oftentimes is the chest collapsing. Sometimes you'll start to see the hips are splaying open and wobbliness. So that's where our assists and adjustments come into place, and it also comes in handy. So first assist is going to be about stability and providing them with that type of support. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just step right behind them and then bring my hip just so that they know I'm here, giving them that support there. And then I'm just going to softly give them some support here along their shoulder for balance. This encourages rooting through the standing leg, engaging our core, activating our Ulla Bandha. And again, does that feel good? Do you feel stable? All right, go ahead and let go. I can feel the shakes happening, so give as a little break here before we go into another type of adjustment. And so let's actually do the opposite leg here to give you a little bit more of the balance. All right, so balance, we are gonna move on to the other side. So go ahead and shift your weight on your right, bend your other, and go ahead and start to reach back and lift your arm up and begin to kick back the left foot for that stability. I'm gonna come up right beside you, and here it's going to be about how to help them and support them with opening up their chest. So I'm just gonna reach, I'm gonna reach under and then provide them with that support. And slowly let go. And then what you don't want to do is abruptly move away from them, but giving them a moment to slowly come out of it themselves. Go ahead and lower your arms back. Now, how did that feel? Did that help with opening up your chest and feeling support and disability?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, there you had it. That was Natarajasana, our dancer's pose, with 2 variations of the adjustments and assist. So that concludes our workshop today. And remember, adjustments are not just about fixing the pose. They're really about really inviting students into more of a just more awareness, right? It's, feeling safe in the posture, being safe in the space, and always lead with consent, right? As I mentioned in every posture, is always ask for consent before touching, and watch for breath. Never underestimate the power of presence over pressure. As we experienced today, it was very light guidance. I was never forcing Aslan into a posture or moving their body in a way where it may not feel natural, or it may be, past their edge. So it's really about being mindful. And once you have that connection, the body to body connection, you will just organically get a feel of, okay, this seems like this is, the max, and you want to follow that. So thanks for practicing with me today. Thanks for visiting. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And I hope this has been super helpful, and look forward to seeing you guys at the next workshop. Thank you.